Colonel Wyatt hits the screen, got stories bold and keen. Old soldier, sharp and mean, tells truths they've never seen. Rugby lover with a roar, Africa flowing in his core. YouTube rants they can't ignore, his passion makes his heart soar. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Military mind, keen and wise, truths come out, no disguise. South African skies, in his eyes, hear his voice, no surprise. Retired soldier with the fight, in the dark he brings the light. Angry rants, truths ignite, join the cause, join the ride. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Enemies knocked on his door, trolls attack, but he's more with each click. Watch him soar on the truth waves, he explodes. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Right now, don't miss the brawl.
Take a picture.
Down by the lot near the old cafe, where the sun fries cars all night and day, there's a wild crew doing what they do. Yeah, you know them, the parking lot crew. Refugees with moves so tight, waving cars in left and right. 10 ways to say, yo, park that straight. 12 for bro, you're 20 late. Neanderthals in safety vests, snack in hand, but doing their best. One grunted loud, broke out in a jig. Turns out he just wants a parking gig. Canines bark like they run the block. Chased a drone down, beat the clock. One gave change with a tail wag spin. That dog's got tips and a toothy grin. Who you gonna call when the lot gets loud? Parking cones up and they're drawing a crowd. Whistles blow and the scooters fly. It's the parking crew and they're riding high. From the streets of town to the lot bazaar, they'll guard your ride like a superstar. Yeah, from Josie streets to America, it's the funky, fearless parking lot crew. Car guard shout near the garbage bin. Who parks skill? You let them in. They blow their whistles in perfect time, like a backup band with a traffic sign. Then here comes Wyatt, the colonel boss. Duct tape boots and a look that's sauce. Rides a scooter with flashing beams, salutes pigeons, yells at ice cream. Men, dogs, apes form a line. No dents, no scrapes, no overtime. If they park like chaos, made a plan. Find them twice and be the man. Who's got the beat in a vested hat? Parking legends funky like that. Guard your eye with soul and flair, and a hi-fi breeze in the summer air. From this line here to America, it's the wild, proud parking lot crew.
ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program. Pleasure to have you join me once again tonight. How are things going for you wherever you may find yourself? Neanderthals, canines, right-wing podcasters, and, of course, aspiring car guards. Looking kind of that outdoor look tonight, like we're hunting for wabbits. Well, hunting for wabbits tonight. Yes. How's it going there, folks? Good to see you all once again. Cheers. What's the word? Anyway, take this Gettysburg cap off. I'm joined by my co-host tonight, none other than Pikachu. Pikachu. Anyway. Pikachu. Yeah, a Pokemon. Hey guys, how's it going? All right, so let's get to it. Let's see who's in the chat here tonight. And we've got Chantel Fenta, Samantha Fonek, Expat Family Joubert, Tins Kutza, Dougie Ray, Rudolph Skeppers, Ingrid's Inspirations. Mark is here, Chris Danner. Okay. I saw that photograph of those guys from South Africa making their 4th of July float, and then some smart aleck post on there, where are the black people at? You know, how come there's no black people? Well, probably because no black people live there. Genius. Anyway, Tom Pulteney, what's up? Hey, Arctic is back. Where you been, man? You been in the air? Got news on that Air India flight tonight. I'm looking at the fuel controls. We're going to talk about that if we get to it a little bit later on. I'd like to, Arctic will probably want to weigh in on that. Rudolph Skeppers said, hello, Mark. Just watch South Africa broadcast straight up lying about Trump and the tariffs and tell their viewers there's no trade deficit. It's $4 billion trade deficit annually in South Africa's favor, $12 billion to $8 billion. But really not a lot of money. Not a lot of money for us as a country. Momo, what's up? Dreamliner, what's going on, man? How's it going there? And no, they lie all the time. Also, there's a story I'm going to talk about tonight. They're saying AfriForum says that this all could have been avoided. And Davy Root is saying, oh my goodness, I've been saying this for months since these stupid tariffs were announced. I've been telling exactly the impact, and I've been documenting it the entire way. Now that it's actually happening, I'm just so frustrated by this. I've great. So all these other people get geniuses for things I've been telling everybody about publicly for months. Whatever. Anyway, I just keep calling it and getting it right. That's fine. No credit. Brian Lawrence, what's up? Mandy von Ryan, welcome to you. Marius Fenter. Petrus van der Linda. Okay. Linda is a tree. De Linda. Barend Hendrik Boykes. Thank you for... You're welcome. Pretty sharp and badass in uniform. Oh, you must be talking about me. Good morning, Dirk Kutsia. Funky car guards here. Loretta's back. Who else we got there? AJ Quinn is with us. Oh, it's definitely a thing in South Africa, car guards. Oh, yeah, it's definitely a thing. Yep. Blood Cook, welcome back. Legal Alien. Peter Smith, Karen Lang. It just jumped on me. Let me go back here. Already a great start to the day. Colonel energizes me, gets me excited, enthusiastic. Would you like to hear the jellyfish sway? Theo Holmes, welcome to you. And Maddie's Peter Smith. I won't be going for 2 hours tonight, folks. Probably not going to go that long. Definitely not going to go 2 hours. I don't know how long I'm going to go tonight, but I've been able to get the broadcast for the British and Irish Lions game against the Brumbies. And that is, unfortunately for me, at 6 a.m. So I'll be going to bed earlier, so that I can get up at 5:30 so I can broadcast the British and Irish Lions and Brumbies over on Rugby Ascendant. So, yep. G'day, fun Republic of Switzerland. Adrian Fick is in Switzerland. You're in Switzerland. Whereabouts in Switzerland? Switzerland is my old stomping grounds. I love Switzerland. Pricey, but I love it. Good morning, Art Queen Liza. And Sedgefield is back. Rolene Lewis. Steampunk Angel Gaming is here. Willem Pretorius. There's a serious Peter Smith. There's a serious Afrikaans names there. Tariff increase in 4 conditions. U.S. Embassy basically nowhere to be found in local news. Only story making headlines today is the police commissioner. Well, these stories broke before the police commissioner news. They're covering it up. And I did a video on that. Unfortunately, not many views on it. I did a video saying exactly that. Why, where's that? The Trump tariffs are a non-story for South African media. Why is that? I actually wrote that or did that video, and in there I listed the headlines. I took the headlines from all the major sites in South Africa. I put them all in there, right in a row, in the video. And then some jerk off actually has the audacity to say, well, it's all over the news. I've seen it all over the South African news sites. I'm like, no, genius, watch the video. It's right here. I show you that. Hey, Wendy Vandenberg, what's up? Yep, De Barum, hey, Adrian Fick. Zürich, Zürich, ja, das gefällt mir sehr gut. Ich bin oft in Zürich gewesen. Ja, aber in Zürich sagt man Zürich, ja, ist ein bisschen anders. Also die Aussprache auf Schweizerdeutsch, ja, ist ein bisschen different, ja. It's a little bit different there. Susan Koster, welcome to you. Vanessa Blossom, hey, just plaque. Yeah, exactly. You're right, Vanessa, you're right. Good morning, Vanna Fundamava. Yep, people take my insights. I've been telling people that AGOA is gone. It's not going to be renewed. It's going to disappear for 18 months. And I've been harping on that since Trump suspended aid in February. Since the 7th of February, I've been talking over and over again about AGOA being dead. And we still have members of parliament going into parliament. And we still have people in civil rights groups talking about AGOA. Finally, today, a comment, and Davi Root says, well, AGOA is pretty much effectively dead. But he's saying it's because of the tariffs. It isn't because of the tariffs. It has nothing to do with the tariffs. Reciprocal tariffs have nothing to do with the death of AGOA. The death of AGOA is the lack of a renewal of the legislation. I don't understand why that's so hard for South Africans to understand. Saw a post on Reddit, Americans' reaction towards refugees arriving in Boston. Are you trolling Justin Cameron? I haven't seen one bad reaction to refugees here. I've seen fake comments from people claiming to have done that. But none of them that I've seen had credibility. Mark says, du kannst gut Deutsch sprechen. Ja, natürlich. Ich habe es selbst gelernt. Schon vor, über 40 Jahren. Ja, das war 1984, als ich Deutsch gelernt habe. Ja, schon lange. Mensch, Meier. 41 Jahren. Wow, das ist ja, ist kaum zu glauben. Ja, ich habe mich selbst gelehrt und dann später bin ich auf die Universität gegangen, wo ich also die Grammatik gelernt habe, aber zu sprechen, das habe ich nicht selbst gelehrt. Ja. Okay. It's an old Afrikaans saying, die wat nie will oni. There you go. There you go. Cool, sir. But I'm a Kiwi stranded on Price Island. On the Price Island. The Price Island. What did I miss there, Adrian Fick? What did I miss? Oh, the Price Island, because it's so expensive. Okay, gotcha. You're a New Zealander and you're in Switzerland? It must be very confusing. Although not really. I mean, if it's a lot like the South Island. The Alps of New Zealand are a lot like Switzerland. Just a lot cheaper there. Tariffs have not been big news. It should have been. Claims of Trump being a bully, even it seems being harsh. He's doing this to everyone. ANC didn't even try to deal. No, they didn't even try. And it's being done all over the world. Everyone's acting like being singled out. I made a video earlier, which I'm surprised. I'm probably going to get some hate for it. I made this video earlier about why does op-ed make me angry. This is Zimbabwean who made this nonsensical, racist op-ed about America. You can keep your America. We'll keep our Africa. Fine, dude. Keep your Africa. You know what you're talking about. His running, black people, police brutality, George Floyd. Get the facts. George Floyd didn't get murdered. George Floyd did himself in. He did fentanyl, and that was the cause of his death. Read the coroner's report. The police officer, Derek Chauvin, was railroaded and has been put in prison for doing his job. Yep. And still there. See, Afrikaans refugees being housed in Western New York area a couple weeks ago, not sure. Staying here. I don't know. Charles Kleinhaus was there. And he left. He was in Buffalo, New York. He was gone. He's not there. He has been there since the first week he arrived. You have talent, says Adrian. Wow, ich bedanke mich. Das ist aber nett von Ihnen. I tore into our local radio broadcast for still talking about AGOA. I told them to stop spreading fake news and how our government failed to negotiate trade deals despite being paused for 90 days. Not 30 days, Karen. 90 days it was paused. 90 days. And now they're getting an extra 3 weeks. So basically from April 9th until August 1st. May, June, July 9th, August 9th. Almost 4 months paused. Just 2 days or a week short of 4 months. That op-ed was nauseating. Yes, it was legal alienating. It was. But I'm not going to sit around and take that crap. I'm just going to, call it out. I get harassed. By the way, people want me to put my music on Spotify. Do you guys know how hard that is? That's not a simple thing. I'm not a musician, so I've never used Spotify or Bandcamp or anything like that. So I created a Bandcamp account tonight We'll see how that goes. And then I created another account, and I had to put it on DistroKid. Looks like the best option. But I have to pay for that service to distribute my music to all the websites. And so they put it on there. So I did that. So I had to pay that. It was either $24, $44, or $90 a year. So I picked one of those options to give me several choices. But it turns out they don't pay you for 3 months after the fact. So they keep your money for 3 months and make interest on it, bastards. Then they give your money. Not them, but the Spotify and the Shazam and all the sites. Yeah, so I've never done it before, Legal Alien. So now I'm loading it up there. So once it's up and once I claim my site correctly, I've got it all set up, I'll let you guys know, and I'll start putting the word out there if you want to get it. So anyway, so all the music I've been putting together. So that's short of me giving you my stick. Give you my stick. You should take care of yourself and get some rest. We enjoy it, but love your rest. Okay, I'm fine, expat. Just positive things, response from people. Yeah, nothing but positive stuff. But if there's any refugees that are watching, probably not right now. Guys, it's been a while since we had a refugee interview, and people keep begging for refugee interviews. And why don't you come on? Why don't you talk to me? What's my views on Mexicans attacking American business people in America? If they're Mexicans and they're American attacking people, they should be arrested, prosecuted, deported, and every possession they have confiscated to make up for the damage they've done. Spotify, Candyman, and Barflies. Okay, Adrian. Okay. Funny how the news interviews on YouTube turned it. That business had 90 days to diversify. No mention of failed attempts from government. There's no diversification. See, that's the thing. So I don't get this. Why in the world would you forego the wealthiest consumer market in the world, one of the easiest places to import goods into and distribute it over the most extensive logistics network on the planet? Why would you forego that? To send your crap to Iran? To Tanzania? To China, which has quotas and tariffs? Why would you do that? That's stupid. Diversify your, that's something businesses should always have been doing. There's a reason why they ship their stuff to America. It's easy. They make a fortune. It isn't easy to send your stuff to Brazil or to Kenya or to China. It isn't easy. Illegal immigrants. Well, welcome. We're about you out there, legal alien. You don't have to tell us a town. What state are you in? It's a big country. Justin Cameron saying, not trolling. How can I send you screenshots? Well, you wrote something a long time ago. I don't remember what you said, Justin. So now I got to go back. It's already out of my head. What did Justin say earlier? Oh, yeah. Well, you can't send me screenshots. You can send it to the email. Thank you, Justin. I'm just asking. I wasn't accusing. It wasn't an accusatory question. It was a question. We get a lot of trolls. So, we just get a lot of trolls. To me, it seems that the DA and others should do a deal with Trump's and men actually come up with something and then leave the NC to their imposed darkness. Yeah, they should try, but it doesn't work that way because what the U.S. wants is the end of racist legislation and acknowledgement from the ANC that kill the Boer is wrong, the denunciation of it. They want a few things. New Green Mamba passport. Yeah, the Green Mamba. Hey, funky car guard, you got your passport. Yeah, 90 days, Karen. Just heard positive things in response. Yeah, same here, Louis von Niekerk. Welcome, Xavier Grayling. Great, you should take care. Okay. When the white people need safety or pointing out the abuse towards them, then black people try to get their utmost to get deny it exists. Hypocrisy and barbarians. Well, black people don't deny it exists. Elites deny it exists. Black people, by and large, recognize it. Yeah, but the elites are the ones. My daughter's music on Spotify. Okay, Legal Alien. Thank you for sharing that. Funny how the news interviews. Okay. Back where I was before. The people who think that the refugee program is processing slow pay should go to Canada and pay for work permit. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Common sense is no longer common. Caitlin, you're right about that. Mexicans attack Americans and American business. My opinion is that they should be arrested. They should be stripped of any assets they have to make up for the damage. They should be deported. In your opinion, the cancer is deliberate default on the tariffs, knowing that. Okay, so I'm going to stick with what. By the way, Neil DeBeer will be on the program Thursday, folks. Neil DeBeer will be on the program again Thursday. I've been in contact with him. He's got Parliament tomorrow. He'll be in Parliament for some reason. But Neil will be on the program Thursday. We'll be talking. It won't be a full interview because I'm going to gauge his health and see how he is. I don't want to wear him out. So yeah, Neil will be on. That'll be 11 o'clock, roughly 11 o'clock on Thursday. So Neil DeBeer back on. I haven't heard back from Byron Shepard. I asked Byron to come on, but Byron did not answer my message. He is in communication because I got a message from him in another place and I'm a group with him. So let me see if he wrote back yet. Maybe he did while I was busy. Nope, still hasn't written back. Okay. Where the heck this guy? I just saw something I was looking for. Now I can't find it. Sorry, folks. I need to get that out there. Okay, great. ANC should come around and get rid of this. Yep. Mexico is bad. National dialogue. Where was this at? Just disappeared. National Dialogue without DA will be an election roadshow for the ANC. It was going to be an election roadshow for the ANC anyway. It was all it was ever going to be. Made some quick sums yesterday. $4 billion trade surplus U.S. is $72 billion now. That's the average of the government department annual budget. That's what's that? That's what they're squandering. Yes, that's the surplus. You have to take into consideration $12 billion in trade, $12 billion in exports to the United States, plus the things you rely on. You get finished goods from the U.S. that are important to some people in South Africa, you know. So no more windows. I suppose you get it from China, license, whatever. But $12 billion times 18 to 1 equals 216 billion rand. That's the exports to the U.S. $7.99 California. Why is gasoline $7.99 in California? It costs $3 here. It's more expensive in California because of the stupid blends they require. What does South Africa primarily export to the U.S.? Agricultural products, including wine and automobiles and automobile parts and minerals. That's the three top things that come here. $5.29. That makes more sense. Yeah. Once you go left, you can't think right. No pills for dumbass. You're right, Jack Up. How it is in Minnesota. Speaking where a bunch of dumb people are in Minnesota. Sadly, this communist playbook being used in Africa have been coming into the West, also DI. Yes, that's true, Fisher Grubb, excuse me. Tio says a massive uprising of anti-American rioters in a Mexican city. Okay, all right. Really? Well, I would shoot them. Break into my business. Ain't gonna get shot. And steel. What about steel? We don't import steel from South Africa, to my knowledge. Not aware of steel. Let me see. Does the U.S. import any steel from South Africa? If it is, it's negligible. You don't even make enough steel for yourself. I'd be shocked if we bought, other than in a car. What's this say? Well, we do import steel. $11 million. $11 million. We get iron, though. Yeah, we get iron. Yeah, but steel, not much call for that from South Africa. What will happen with USA companies that are in South Africa? Nothing, Chris. Nothing. Nothing. The tariffs don't apply to them. They're doing business in South Africa. Unless they're shipping things from South Africa to the U.S., then it applies to them. Which will have 70%. What is 70%? Cash Jordan posted what on YouTube? Guys, you can't put half sentences there. I don't know what you're talking about. What? Okay, I can't address one word, 10 sentences. You're not having a conversation with me. You're putting half sentences there. I can't address that. Don't know what you guys are going on about. Yeah. Be sure to hit the like button, folks. Only 80 likes so far. You know, my video on the fact that South African media is ignoring the situation hasn't done much. Only 15,000, let me see, 16,000 views. Not a lot. Not a lot. The one where I said 40% tariffs only got 60,000. Yep. Anyway. Yep. Your phone keeps popping away. Has it got legs? Yes, South African steel manufacturers shutting down. I'm aware of that. I know. ArcelorMittal is shutting down the Vol Triangle. Part of their production. South Africa is now importing most of its steel from China. Yep, another loss to South Africa's economy. Shame, 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 shame. Right, so Elon Musk's Grok, his little AI, apparently spewed out some anti-Semitic nonsense tonight. Whew, whew. Yeah. Yay, Bo. It sure did. What's that? All the music came on at once. That wasn't right. That's the button we wanted right there. Elon Musk Grok chatbot published a series of anti-Semitic posts. Wow. Grok, the flagship chatbot behind Elon Musk's fledgling artificial intelligence company XAI, published a number of anti-Semitic posts this evening, its second flurry of controversial responses in recent months. In a series of viral posts on X, Grok started to call itself Mecha Hitler, or Mecha Hitler, suggesting that an account called At Rad Reflections was a person named Cindy Steinberg who was celebrating the death of dozens of children who went missing at Camp Mystic because of her last name. In one of the posts, which has since been deleted, Steinberg, a radical, called her a radical and said she was happy that a group of future fascists had perished in Texas floods. Actually, that is happening. That's actually happening. I don't know if that's that person. I saw the woman say it, the black woman and the white woman. This is disgusting people. Anyway, so went on to say, promoting Hitler and a bunch of other stuff. That's not good, my friend. Not good. Fisher Grubb says, don't worry, you're visiting it more visibly soon enough. The more South Americans arrive, the more mainstream news. Plus, well, we'll see. Got a lot of attention with the refugee thing, but a lot of people disappeared for that. You know, as I said, look, I knew that a lot of people weren't going to be here for the refugee thing. Look, I mean, this Night Owls is an outgrowth of people coming from refugee. And most people, they're here tonight, I think, found the channel since January. So this is an outgrowth of that. But, yeah, it's 379 Northern California. There you go, Scott. Hey, Scott, SWV West, whatever that means. Sadly, South Africa is becoming the export of raw materials. Yeah, that's all it is, an export of raw materials. Yep, and human capital. We have a huge steel business in South Africa, says Carlos. Our jails are full. I wonder if the treason or racist if you use the old flag. I don't know. Depends on the context. I'm here for the news. The refugee thing is a sit back and wait process. Agreed, Maddie. But people found me because of the refugee thing. And now people aren't finding me because of the refugee thing because it's gone quiet. That's fine. No problem with that. John Steenhuisen calls for Cyril Ramaphosa to act against Senzo Mkhunu as he did with Andrew Whitfield. Well, here we go. This is another ultimatum from the Minister of Agriculture. DA leader John Steenhuisen said President Ramaphosa should act on allegations made by KZN Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nanda Kwanazi as he did with Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield. I would at least think that this requires a full parliamentary inquiry through the committee. I think Kwanazi should be given and allowed to come to Parliament and set out these allegations. But then I think there needs to be a full and thorough investigation. I was completely shocked by these allegations. I've known Lieutenant General Kwanazi for many years. I'm a KZN resident, and as a citizen, I've known him for his work there. I don't think he's somebody who makes wild, unsubstantiated allegations, nor do I, ladies and gentlemen. Kwanazi has a long record of very, very well-respected law enforcement official. I think that there's smoke, there's fire here. And it sounds like Mkhunu definitely did some political interference and shut down the political assassination team. Yeah, wow. Well, Mark, he said, Mark, you're an American, I think, aren't you? The Steenhuisen guy has got no spine. Must be a typical politician. Yeah, you know, the other night when the rugby was on, I watched 3 different parts of the world had beautiful, beautiful skies at night. It was amazing. We had beautiful skies in, where was the first one at? Anyway, I can't remember all of them, but Loftus had beautiful skies, but I think there was, what's the other game I covered? But I covered 3 games. It was pretty amazing. He's amazing. We must support him. He's brave, says Lana. Okay, you say so. Trump's 30% tariffs will destroy the motor industry in South Africa. Well, I warned you. I warned you. But now they're catching on. President Donald Trump's decision to slap 30% tariffs on vehicles, components, tires, and parts exported from South Africa will kill any possible economic growth in our country, said Motor Industry Staff Association. Yep. Davi Root, founder and chief economist at the Efficient Group, told Misa Trump's figures are not based on actual figures, but everyone will feel that impact because it will hinder any economic growth. These tariffs take away any competitive edge South Africa had in competing with the global market. Small retailers have already stopped manufacturing because it will not be feasible to continue with the new export tariffs or because of reduced demand from U.S. clients. We can now accept that AGOA is dead. Well, I'm sorry, Davi. AGOA is dead. It had nothing to do with these tariffs. And I've told people that forever. I don't know why you all keep holding on to the idea that AGOA is still something. It's not. It's dead. The law runs out 30 September. There's no legislation to replace it. That's been the case for 18 months. I've said that. I didn't see the carte blanche story, Maddie. What's going on in the SANDF has become quite a horrible embarrassment for South Africa. We've got SANDF members credibly accused of assassination of a Hawks officer who was investigating their purported murder of a foreign national in custody. This is what's going on. And then Mitchell's Plains residents want the military to come and patrol? I don't think so. I don't think so. Remember, it was the military and SAPs who murdered Collins Kosi. Remember that? Collins Kosi. Remember that? Early stages of lockdown, they murdered a black man in broad daylight, beat him to death. Yep. There's no one been held account for that murder. Collins Kosi. Remember that? Say his name. Collins Kosi. Yep. Am I blocked? Blocked by who, Lana? Blocked by what? Yep, guy during the Rona nonsense. Just happy this whole thing is publicly rubbing the long-standing anti-corruption in their faces. The world knows, and hopefully it only gets better. I don't think much of the world knows or is paying attention. It's unfortunate. I wish we had more of the little White House meetings. That would have been great. Our government officials are the car guards with no brain capacity. You can't post links, Mark, unless you are a content creator or a moderator. Only moderators can post those. That's a YouTube policy, not mine. So what's your link to? Tell us what it's about. Sometimes I grant temporary moderator status. Lieutenant Colonel was brave for speaking out. Yeah, well, he's dead now, unfortunately. Herman Furry says, patience pays off. I got my call last night when working in Alexandria. Telephone interview today. Are you talking about for the refugee program, Herman? But it's not happening. This isn't direct to you, Herman. But it's not happening. But it's too slow. But they owe me. How come the American? Why do I have to get jabs? What? The gangs outnumber SANDF 10-1 anyway. Yeah, they'll just be more casualties. Herman, thanks for sharing your story there. I appreciate that. Herman, if you send me an email to the email address on this account, one of the mods, if you're here, put the email account up real quick. If you send me an email after your interview, if they ask you to sign a non-disclosure statement, you can send me an email privately. I won't disclose anything. I need to find out what's going on here. People aren't talking anymore, and there's a lot of concern. So I just need to know. I was in contact with American officials, but I didn't ask any questions. I just gave them some advice. Yeah, the perpetrators were exonerated. Yep. Australia suffered from socialism since the 80s, stopped making cars in 2017, then had Holden cars in name only. The next 3 years can't be the first world when you don't make stuff. Exactly, Fisher Grub. Yep, exactly. Holden, yeah, that brand is still around. Opel bought that, which used to belong to General Motors, and they offloaded Opel. Opel was the only reason General Motors was profitable in the 80s is because of their German Opel division. Yep. Article from yesterday where Cyril was interviewed about he's responded. Trump is saying Trump was that I saw that the release. I already covered that. That's Ramaphosa is talking out his ass. He's good at that. See, people already have questions. Rudolph, people are asking questions of Herman. Funny they show a pic of car tires. Port Elizabeth, the general, no cars, no tires. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they're showing car tires. Yeah. Okay. It would have been last night, but I got home midnight. I will send you. Thank you, Herman. Thank you. You've got the email, I presume, Herman. I don't need to put it there. Thank you. I appreciate it. If you're not allowed to share stuff, then we'll just stays between us, and I won't attribute anything to you. Okay. All right. You're not the only person who's reaching out to me. I'm just trying to get some confirmation from folks. AfriForum blames Ramaphosa for U.S. tariffs. Well, that's who I blame. Please make more videos in U.S. history if you have any free time. Well, the free time is a question, Werner Fundamental. That's the problem. So I had not anticipated covering the British and Irish Lions game against the Brumbies, but guess what? That's in 6 hours from now. I'll be up and sitting here on Rugby Ascendant to do that game. So if you guys can come over and watch, it'll be noon South African time, 11 in the British Isles. You can come join me. I have some biltong here, but it wasn't packaged properly, so it was just in a sack, and so I was going to eat it tonight, but it doesn't look so good. So AfriForum is blaming Ramaphosa. I blame them, the ANC, all along. And I've detailed how they've not been legitimate, genuine negotiators. Lobby group AfriForum said President Ramaphosa and the ANC-led government are directly responsible for the 30% tariff that U.S. President Donald Trump announced. I agree 100%. Yep. Ernst von Sale said Ramaphosa's government wanted a 9-day grace period and made no progress in resolving. They made no effort. Made no effort. Yep. Instead of cooperating, the government made unfounded allegations against AfriForum and claimed the organization was guilty of spreading misinformation. And then MK brought treason charges against their officials when they were here. Utter nonsense, distracting from the real issues at heart. The bottom line is South Africa's government has racist legislation, and the United States is not going to tolerate it anymore. We had racist legislation. It was called affirmative action for 40 years, and finally we got rid of that garbage. You pick people based on merit. If some people are held back because something historical was wrong, then you correct that by putting investment into that area. You don't promote people above other people because their skin color or their faith or their gender. You don't make a woman a CEO because she's a woman. Who cares that she's a woman? Is she up to the job? Plenty of women are. Plenty aren't. Yeah, Fisher, I had a bite. Wasn't that good? Wasn't that good? Hope you get your info from South Africa peeps coming in. Really appreciate your news. I'm trying. Take care, Fisher Grub. I'm trying. It's not always easy. For some reason, a lot of people have gone quiet. Well, the Bulls have been signing people left and right, including Paul de Vet. Traitor. He's fleeing from the Stormers and going to sign in the Highveld. So lots of signings taking place as the Bulls get remade with Jake White gone. The Bulls organization has signed a whole bunch of names this week. Yep. The Bulls have confirmed the signing of 2 Springboks locks, a Stormers scrum half, a Cheetahs flank, and the return of Springbok wing Kurtley Arnsey. Arnsey is coming back after a 1-year sabbatical with Japan's League One. The 29-year-old is in hot form last weekend. Yep. Springboks locks Marvin Ori and Nico Janssen van Rensburg joined the Bulls in July. And then Paul de Vet coming from the Stormers. In addition, Andre Pollard is back, as well as Jan Serfontein. Well, I'm excited about Jan Serfontein. Paul de Vet, Jan Serfontein being on this team, and Kurtley being back. I'm very excited about that for the Bulls next year. Early birthday present here, mine, perhaps. He's very aware that, yep. No, and instead of getting rid of the race laws, Ramaphosa's doubled down on. He said, no, transformation will continue. Transformation is dog whistle for racism, systemic racism. That's what transformation means, systemic racism. It doesn't uplift any poor black people. Never has. It's just enriched a coterie of elites. That's what it is. It's black supremacy and black privilege. Yep. Steamside country just described. Thank you for that. It's black privilege. By the way, let's take a look at that, since I'm going to go over and take a look and see what's going on with that short that I did really quickly, because that one was like 120,000 last I saw. It slowed down a lot, but it's still gaining views. 122, so it's really slowed down. But yeah. Yep, it's slowing down to about 100 per hour now. But yeah, 309 subscribers from a short that I did. I'm just astounded by that. 122,500. I actually made a couple cents off it. Usually I make 3 or 4 cents max off a short, and made a few dollars off that one. Must be obvious to the world that South Africa's government is running our country in the ground. No, I don't think the world sees it, Wayne Smith. I don't think the world sees it. 3 new waves issued in just the last few months. Yep. I've scoured annual reports for VW. Okay. Concentrate on the sales. Bottom line, without U.S., all South Africa would lose 23% of sales. Just, yeah, on average. Yeah. No, I know. It's huge. It's huge. Patches says 2. Theo loves that I support who I support when it comes to rugby. Well, I support the Stormers and Province all the way. Springboks all the way. And then from there, you know, the Griquas playing Curry Cup, rooting for the Griquas. If in the order of the club levels, it's Stormers, then I'll support the Bulls. I used to love the Cheetahs, but they don't have the top flight talent they once had. I used to like. So Stormers, Bulls, and then it kind of falls apart from there. Yeah, we saw that Professor Gumeda thing. I don't have contact from him. I should have gotten his number when I was at that conference a couple years ago. He would be a great guy to interview. Yeah, good day, Road Captain Kev. Right, back to what I was doing there now. So, there we go. So the Bulls are signing people left and right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't do a video on this. I should do a video on it, but I didn't do one. I'm sure lots of other people are going to do it. But Lesotho has declared a national state of disaster over losing textile jobs. I think that's a bit of an overreaction. But they have. Lesotho declared a 2-year state of disaster over soaring unemployment and mass job losses. The textile-dependent economy is devastated by Trump's 50% tariff rate. Youth unemployment has reached 38%, and the government warns it could lose up to 40,000 jobs if AGOA isn't renewed. Well, almost everything coming from there, the $230 million a year in exports to America, is textile-related. How are you going to lose 40,000 jobs? There are only 46,000 jobs in the textile sector. Something doesn't seem right there. In addition, their own minister said that they only had 12,000 jobs there. 240 million in exports last year. And he says that the textile factory has employed just 12,000 people. But then the media claims, Bloomberg, that 40,000 jobs will be lost. There were 50,000 textile jobs in Lesotho when the multi-fiber agreement expired in January 1st, 2005. 16,000 jobs disappeared. Gone like that. So that took it from 50 down to 34,000. So now they're saying that the textile industry has 12,000 jobs. But that's not right, because I found somewhere else it says it's about 46,500. Who knows what the true figure is? We're getting smoke and mirrors here. Anyway, they've declared a national state of disaster. Government warning could lose 40,000 jobs if AGOA is not renewed. So they must be talking beyond the textile, but there's not really much there. Almost everything is that. Well, the Houthis are at it again. That ship that they attacked has sunk. They claim it sunk. That's not it. That's an old picture there. Independent sources have yet to confirm the target vessel was actually sunk, but we got a video showing a ship going down. Yemen's Ansar Allah group, otherwise known as the Houthis, has claimed to have sunk a Greek-operated Liberian flag vessel. Yep. And so here's the video, which they claim that they sunk this thing. The engine's still going as it's almost under the water. Look at that. That's insane. Now the engine's... So let's go back to the end and see that. Right when we get to the end, we might be able to see the name of the ship. That's a Panamanian flagship. That's not it. That's the Smart from Panama. You see that? You see that? They claim they sank a ship. That's on their website. That ship is the Smart from Panama. See it on the back? Smart, Panama. Yeah, so the Houthis are lying again, it looks like. Let's see when the Smart Panama sank. Flagged. Smart. Doesn't say. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, they're lying again. But here's another story on that. An attack by Yemen's Houthi rebels on a Liberian flag cargo ship killed 3 mariners and wounded 2 others. The attack on the Greek-owned Eternity Sea follows the Iranian-backed Houthis attacking another vessel, the bulk carrier Magic Seas, on Sunday. So they've been made 2 attacks. Where is the damn British and American and Dutch navies? Where the hell are they at? Why is this being allowed to happen? This is insanity. Insanity. Best biltong maker is old fridge and 2 fans. Okay. The unemployed will just walk over the mountains into South Africa and look for work there. Well, they've been doing that for a century. Wish I had a bot and could set up taking orders to buy from local farmers for us in suburbs. Farmers say get little for their meat. Okay. Ran aground and broke apart outside Richards Bay. What did? That one from the Panama ship, flagship? Thank you, Maddie. See, they put that on their website. That was on their. There you go. Here you go. They put it on their website. Look at it. The July 7th. They claim they sank the ship, and look what they posted. They posted that ship, which ran aground outside Richards Bay. See, they're frauds. Oh my goodness. Is Arctic still here? Because now it's time to talk about the Air India crash, ladies and gentlemen. The Air India crash, that horrific crash. We saw the plane take off and just fall on top of a dormitory. Oof. Data from the Dreamliner's black box points investigators towards improper, inadvertent, or intentional pilot actions. The ongoing investigation into the cause of the June 12th crash of Air India Flight 171 has narrowed its focus to the movement of the engine fuel control switches following analysis of the Boeing 787's integrated flight and voice data recorders. The crash killed 241 of the 242 passengers and crew aboard the aircraft and 19 people on the ground 32 seconds after it took off. Preliminary report from India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau is expected to be released around July 11th in New Delhi, making 30 days since the first fatal accident involving Boeing's latest generation wide-body. Under International Civil Aviation Organization, Arctic, I don't recall you said it was that way. I think we all kind of agreed. We were wondering what was going on with the flaps, right? We were wondering. Something didn't make sense. But yeah, looks like the pilot's fucked up. Yep. States in charge of an investigator must submit a preliminary report. At this point in the inquiry, the data available to the investigators does not indicate a mechanical or design issue with the 787 or its GE Aerospace engines. The knowledgeable people who spoke with this news site also indicated that post-accident analysis showed no sign of fuel contamination or improper retraction of the aircraft's flaps, two factors often speculated as possible contributors. The familiar people said the lack of any kind of advisory warning from Boeing or GE to operators, known as multi-operator message, in the 13 days that have followed the initial black box is a key signal that mechanical failure is not immediately suspected as likely cause of the crash. Engine fuel control switches on the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. The 787's two-position fuel control switches, run and cutoff, are used on the ground for engine start and shutdown, or in flight for manual shutdown or restart during an engine failure. Moving a switch in flight would immediately stop the engine's fuel supply, shutting it down and resulting in a loss of thrust. Look where they put them, right there. They have guarded brackets so you can't accidentally turn them off, though. All the people spoke with them said the details surrounding movement of the engine fuel control switches will take months, if not longer, to analyze alongside available data and other findings. Wow. Yep, I think you're right, Arctic. I think you've hit that spot on. They inadvertently picked up the flaps, which would explain what's going on, instead of the gear, and then they misidentified it as a dual engine failure and tried to restart. Yep. Yep, same design on all Boeings. Yeah, I know. It's been that way for 40 years. Yep. Never happened before like this, to my knowledge. Or never been fatal, anyway. Stephen Nordkia, welcome. Thank you. Thanks, Arctic, for your input there. Pilot error, big time. Killed all those people. It was the first fatal crash of a 787. I mean, you can't account. And this is such an easy one not to do. Such an easy one not to do. That's insane. According to those familiar with it, the black boxes cannot rule in or out improper, inadvertent, or intentional actions that precede or follow the apparent loss of thrust before it crashed into the hostile. Yep. Moving a fuel control switch from run to cutoff in flight would cause fuel supply to stop flowing to the associated engine, resulting in its immediate shutdown and the loss of any thrust. Yep, the fuel control module underneath the jet's throttle holds the two switches, which are guarded with brackets. Yep. In the event of an engine fire, the fuel control switch for the effect engine would illuminate in red, and providing a key visual clue for the crew. Yep. Here's that particular that airframe in 2011. That's the one that crashed right there, that plane. Wow. That's when it was built at Boeing. That's the tail number. It entered service in 2014. There was only one survivor. Yeah, there was a Indian fellow who jumped out of the plane when it ripped open and survived. The stupid bell you have makes the same sound as a fire warning. That's why you're always losing your mind. Seen it in the sim. Red screen of death follows pretty soon after. Yeah, in the simulator, well, that's one thing in the simulator. That is sad, bugger off bunny. Yep. Yep. Yep, that's crazy. Well, the Trump administration is trying to block the Chinese from buying farms. I'm not really sure how they do that unless they pass a federal law, because this government doesn't control who owns land. But many states have already moved to block, including Arizona. Officials say adversaries' U.S. farmland ownership can imperil national security. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins said Tuesday the administration will work with state lawmakers to ban sales of U.S. farmland to buyers from China and other countries. Rollins, joined by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, said the government is ratcheting up scrutiny on existing land owned by Chinese buyers and is looking for ways to potentially claw back past purchases. Chinese-owned entities hold nearly 300,000 acres of U.S. farmland, 0.02% of our farmland. They don't want them to have any more. Any news of missing girls? No, Xavier, nothing new. Over 100 people dead, but nothing new. And counselors are still missing as well, not just girls. Germany accuses China of targeting aircraft in an EU mission. Germany summoned the Chinese ambassador in the Foreign Ministry, the Bundesaußenministerium, on Tuesday, saying China's military had laser-targeted German aircraft taking part in an EU operation in the Red Sea. The flare-up in tensions comes as concerns mount in the EU about Chinese influence on critical technologies and security infrastructure in Europe. Putting German personnel at risk and disrupting the operation is completely unacceptable, said Germany's foreign ministry on X. Well, the Chinese, up to their old tricks. Now they're doing it in the Red Sea, very far from China. Norman Tebbit, Lord Norman Tebbit, outspoken hero of the conservative political right, has passed away. Thank you, Peter Engelbrecht, for your subscription. Norman Tebbit, who died at the age of 94, was the heart of Margaret Thatcher's political revolution. He was a man whose philosophy of self-reliance. What's this? Oh, now BBC wants me to pay. Now I'm not paying you for your propaganda. Now that's new. Now they have a paywall. Sorry, that's gone. Firefighters batting wildfire in Marseille. Not looking good here, folks. Big wildfire. There's the firefighting aircraft. Hundreds of firefighters battled a fast-moving wildfire that reached the outskirts of the city of Marseille Tuesday, forcing people to stay indoors and nearby airport to close. Aided by firefighting helicopters and aircraft, the firefighters had the blaze under control by evening, but a forecast of more strong winds meant it might yet advance further towards France's second most populous city and the largest city in North Africa, Marseille. If you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. Bloomberg. Are tourists ruining Europe? Well, Europeans are pissed off and they're pushing back. Summer 2025 may go down in history as the season when Europe turned against tourism. Locals unable to walk through Barcelona's clogged streets sprayed visitors with water guns. Thousands marched to demand an end to mass tourism in the Spanish island Majorca. Residents of Genoa paraded a cardboard ocean liner through the city's narrow alleyways to protest against seasonal flooding by cruisegoers. In Paris, a protest by Louvre staff against overcrowding museums' galleries saw throngs of frustrated visitors locked out. Yep. Europe fights tourist overload. They bring in money and create jobs, but they cause congestion and pollution and put pressure on basic services. Here's the Louvre. Look at that. Oof, all those people trying to see the Mona Lisa. I was there, and there were 6 of us in the room. I saw the Mona Lisa. By the way, it's not impressive. You know, the Mona Lisa is like this big. It's like, it's not even the size of a book. It's tiny. I was not impressed. So the Mona Lisa, there were like 6 people in the room. It is tiny, tiny, tiny. Was not impressed. Over tourism, yep. They tend to fall in 3 categories: Mediterranean beach resorts, alpine ski towns, and historic cities for popular short breaks. Yep. But here we're back. After slumping during the scamdemic, annual tourist arrivals have rebounded. Europe is approaching 800 million after dropping to just 200 million during the scamdemic year. Asia Pacific, thank you, Daniel Bacolo. Asia Pacific went from just under 400 million to well over 300 million again. The Americas, we went from 250 million back to 225 million back to 225 million. Africa, from over 60 million now back up to almost 80 million. And the Middle East had a huge surge, going from just 70 million to over 100 million. But who's at fault? Well, everybody. Look at this. That's the Parthenon in Greece. That thing has always got work on it. When I was there, they're working on the damn thing. They're always working on it. Look at all those damn people. That's insane. I was there. 2006, I think it was. 2005, something like that. 2004. Look at this. This is the Grand Canal in Venice. This is in 2023. This is insane. I've been to Venice many times in the summertime, and I haven't seen this many people thronging there. That's absolute insanity. All trying to get in the Vaporettos. No thanks. That's crazy. Yep. The riot police guarding a tourism degrowth protest. Good Lord. Oh, my goodness. And then a tourist town at Hallstatt is erecting a barrier to block views with popular photo hunters. Seriously? Wow, I've been to Hallstatt too. I've been to all these places. Hallstatt's beautiful. It's where they got this big mine, salt mine tour. What's going on? You've been cut off. I don't understand what's going on there, Maddie. You have to explain it to me. Send me an email. Okay. What's your take on the meeting today with XRP and Ripple? What is XRP and Ripple? I don't know what that is. It's true that Chinese bought land near U.S. nuclear facilities. I don't know the answer to that. Should be careful about what they wish for. A lot of those businesses rely on summer tourists. Yeah, they do. Then they're going to go broke. Yep. Your wife was very unimpressed. Yeah, so was I. Yeah. The one thing I was impressed with was the crown of the Holy Roman, or the Austro-Hungarian Emperor. That was pretty cool. Saw that in Vienna. Yep. So I've seen all these places. Been to all of them. Some many times. Trump delays the tariffs, and the BBC propaganda outlet tries to claim that he's because of hardball. No, it's not because of hardball. It's because Trump, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Donald Trump's White House grandly promised 90 deals in 90 days after pausing the tariffs. In reality, they want to be able to have 9 deals done by that time when we reach Trump's first cutoff date of 9 July. The revealing thing here, the poker tell, if you like, is the extension of the deadline from Wednesday to August 1st, the possibility of further extensions. Not really. Not really. No. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, says the focus has been on the 18 countries that do 95% of the trade with the U.S. And the reason Trump delayed it is because the Treasury Secretary asked him to delay it. He asked him to delay it. That's why he did it. He said, I need more time. President Trump decided to delay the implementation of so-called reciprocal tariffs after advisors, including Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, told him he could get trade deals with more time. So there you go. It's not because Trump blinked. You got idiots. Supreme Court has cleared the way for massive federal layoffs and reducing the size of federal bureaucracy as once again, Donald Trump, contrary to the lies spread by the political left, does not operate outside the law. Once again, when scumbag, hate-wanking leftists went to the courts to delay President Trump from executing his lawful ability to do things, Trump didn't do anything while he fought it in the courts. He's won, once again, like he's done in every situation, like building the wall, and now he can go forward. But they say he acts with impunity. He doesn't act with impunity. When the courts tell him he can't do it, he waits. The ruling lifts a lower court order halting Trump's planned firings and restructuring of federal agencies. The Supreme Court on July 8th lifted a lower court order that prevented Trump administration from carrying out job cuts. The new ruling lifts U.S. District Judge Susan Ilsen's idiotic May 22nd order that temporarily stopped large-scale layoffs. She's a fool. She's cost the U.S. government billions of dollars in salary from May 22nd to July. American Federation of Government Employees said the planned organization will lead to hundreds of thousands of federal employees losing their jobs. That's true. That's true. The executive order was created to implement the workforce optimization initiative of the Trump administration's DOGE. Order directed all agencies to work with DOGE to reduce staffing and limit hiring. And the courts tried to stop it. Ketanji Brown Jackson, the lunatic on the Supreme Court, dissented, saying she called the order not only unfortunate, but also hubristic and senseless. Well, I think the appointment of a woman to the court because she's a black woman is hubris and senseless too. She shouldn't even be in that court. Well, a new Council of Economic Advisors report finds that the tariffs are not causing inflation, despite the lies of the left. Price of goods versus imported goods, no difference. A new report from the Council of Economic Advisors found that the price of imported goods have fallen this year and it dipped faster than overall goods prices since February. The report breaks down the Professional Consumption Expenditure Price Index, which is an inflation gauge watched by the Federal Reserve, and the Consumer Price Index, which is an inflation gauge most commonly used by public into imported and domestic components. Overall prices jumped 0.4% from December through May, which corresponds to 1% annualized rate. Oh my goodness, folks. Oh my goodness. Joe Biden brought us 30 and 40% inflation. The government reported as 9%. It was 30 and 40% annualized inflation. Donald Trump comes back in office and we drop to 0.4% in 6 months. December, January, February, March, April, May. 6 months, 0.4, which translates to 1% annualized inflation. No deflation, no inflation, a humming economy. Yet they continue to lie about Trump. Oh, the tariffs consumers are going to have to pay for the tariffs. Oh, Americans will suffer. Wrong again. Email address. One of the mods put there it is. Arctic did. Thank you, Arctic. Appreciate that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's the part that people want to talk about the other day. I didn't want to talk about because I don't know what the fixation is, the obsession with the Epstein thing. Well, here we go. We're going to talk about Epstein, and we're going to talk about Pam Bondi. Those on the far right are very angry at Pam Bondi. I'm not. I'm not angry that she's not going after the criminals in the Biden regime. That's what I'd like to see. Who censored us, who used Twitter and Facebook and YouTube as agents of the federal government to deny our First Amendment rights, which is illegal. I want those people in jail. I want them in jail. That's who she should be doing. I'm upset about that, but not about Epstein. I care less about Epstein. Epstein doesn't affect my life. With broken promise on Epstein, Pam Bondi draws the ire of Trump supporters. MAGA influencers are calling for Attorney General's resignation after she failed to produce the truckload of documents about the sex offender. Right-wing influencers and allies of President Trump are calling for the Attorney General's resignation after she backtracked on a promise to release what she called a truckload of documents from the FBI investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. The About face drew a chorus of criticism for right-wing figures, including Glenn Beck, Benny Johnson, and Jack Probisek. Laura Loomer asked late Monday, how many more times is this woman going to get away with effing everything up before she's fired? Okay. Interesting. So, They want her head on a platter. Well, that's because the Department of Justice said there's no Epstein client list. Top Trump appointees leading the Justice Department are backtracking a promise to open up the Federal Reserve or Federal Bureau of Investigation's files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, attempting to shut down long simmering questions and conspiracies they once promoted. Mr. Trump let the hat out of the bag and exposed everyone's skeletons and all the racists. Hey, Odin's Viking, what's going on? Yes, is great. You're useless at your job. You're fired. Jackson got checked by a Sotomayor colonel. Did you see that? Oh, really? She did? I didn't see that. What did Sotomayor say? Let me go back to that. She concurred, even though she shares some of Jack's concerns. Although the president cannot restructure federal agencies in a manner inconsistent with congressional mandates, that's true. Executive order requires agencies to plan reorganization reductions in force consistent with applicable law. So, yeah, Sotomayor did. She gave a rebuke. Wow, Sotomayor gave her a rebuke. I'm shocked. I didn't see that. The VA plans to end 80,000 positions, which will severely hinder veterans' access to health care and benefits. Department of Energy and General Service Administrators both intend to fire half the workforce. Health and Human Services plans to cut 10,000 positions. Wow. We shall see. Trump says 50% tariff on imported copper. Ouch. One of my viewers mentioned it earlier today. He said tariffs on pharmaceuticals could reach 200%. President Trump has unveiled plans to impose 50% tariff on copper. Today we're doing copper. I believe the tariff on copper, we're going to make it 50%. Wow. In addition, the president threatened to impose tariffs of 200% on pharmaceuticals imported. However, Trump noted that these higher import duties would not take effect right away. Instead, give people about a year and a half. With pharmaceuticals and semiconductors, these studies are being completed at the end of the month, and so the president will set his policies then. Wow. Trump is definitely putting those tariffs in. South Africa sees an opportunity to blame their failing state on the USA. They welcome this, and now they will be able to actually shift the blame from them. That's why I don't care to meet up. Okay. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, no, I don't know them, Steve. I don't mess around with speculative things like that. Thank you for sharing that. Adrian says, thank you. Excellent work. You're very welcome. Okay. Breaks. Tom, Sven, the handyman. Bondi said from day one she will not disclose anything with victims' names in it. I think she said that from day one, yeah. People who are so fast with Epstein are just after a juicy gossip story. I agree, Ingrid. I wonder where we import most copper from. I would guess it would be either Zambia or Chile. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Chile, Canada, and Peru. Not actually from Zambia. They represent 90% of U.S.'s refined copper imports from last year. Canada, Chile, and Peru. So, good luck. Good luck to Canada. They're already in trouble. Yep. So, Chile. Wow, here you go. You can see the map, or you see the graph here. So, there's where copper comes from. Chile accounts for over 600,000. Is this tons, I assume? Metric tons, over 600,000 metric tons. Canada gets us about 160,000 metric tons. Peru, about 50,000. The DRC and Mexico. There you go. We get most of our copper from Chile. Looks like about 75% of it, actually. Imported, that is. We produce our own copper, too. Yep. Good morning, everyone. And Pikachu, glad you're back. Smile. Yeah, Pikachu's got his own chair today. Yeah. Boy, another slap at Canada. Yep. Oh, wow. We're getting that much from Chile. Yeah. Oh, it's not. That's quite a bit. Yep. What was the first one I said? I said Chile, didn't I? See that, guys? I didn't even have to look it up. I knew that. I just knew that stuff. Butte, Montana used to be a copper mecca. Yeah, it was a big copper. Also had a big copper mine in Arizona, as I recall. Everyone, have an awesome day. Thank you very much, Veroshka. Take care. U.S. manufacturer is going to grow at a rate never seen. The law making travelers move their shoes at security checkpoints after the shoe bomber. I don't know about that. I'm in the not the trusted traveler. What's the other one? The program that I don't have to take my shoes off. So I haven't had to do that in the U.S. for a while. It's a dumb idea. They've got sensors that can detect all that crap. All right, let's see if we gained anything. 585, 592, 7 subscribers during the stream. Anyway, let me take a look. I want to look at my stats here, folks, very quickly and see how we're doing here. We got our numbers back up. We dropped down to 2.9 million over 28 days. We're back at 3.2 million views over 28 days. So it's a good gain because we had some slow days there for a while. We hit 173,000 Sunday, 169,000 Monday, but not going to get that many today. Not going to get that many views today. So, okay. Yep. And revenue's down. Yeah, it's all right. No big deal. All right, cool. Murray and Roberts closed and sold a steel firm in Cape Town and it was taken over by a company from Turkey. Okay. Yeah, Pikachu is my producer. There's my producer right there. Does Pennsylvania have a lot of mines? Yeah, we have a lot of coal mines. They've been pretty much shut down. We have some iron ore. We make steel. Pennsylvania steel is well known. We've got a lot of limestone mines, quarries, things like that. Yep. We had a lot of coal mines. Zim is detaining 7 illegal immigrants from South Africa. That's funny. Natasha, let's just see what Pennsylvania's mineral production. Oh, I have a mine atlas here. Cool. So I'm not really sure what this means. I think these are deposits of coal. So I think that's what this is. So give me a second here. This map, it doesn't have a key to it. There's no key here, which is stupid. Layers. Oh, bituminous okay, there we go. Active mine. Okay, well, this says no active mines. None are active. Wow. Oh, no, there's active mines here. They're just not showing up on the map. Okay, I got to put them all on. How do I put them all on? Okay, here we go. Well, still doesn't show the mines. Anyway, here are the regions for the coal production. This is coal. So there's Pennsylvania. You see the gray? Look in the western Pennsylvania. The entire western third, almost 40% of the state is bituminous coal production, and that runs everywhere. If you look in the east there around Scranton, that's an anthracite vein, which I think is pretty much mined out. Yep. I don't know about mines being reopened, so I don't know the answer on that one. That's that map. Let me see what we got here. Mine map atlas. Let's see what this does. That's the same thing I just looked at. Mineral production. Okay, I don't want a map. Okay. Major producer of crushed stone. Okay, so coal, third largest coal producing state, primarily producing bituminous, some anthracite. Yep. Natural gas, significant gas reserves, some petroleum and methane from coal. Crushed stone, sand and gravel, lime and cement, other minerals, and lithium. Recent research indicates that Marcellus Shale formation contains lithium within the fracking water. So that's something we've got a lot of potential for. Yep. But we don't have jade or anything like that. So I've done this before. Look at gemstones. $2,000 the value. Nothing there. Lime, sand and gravel, stone, cement. Yeah, so. Yep, not a lot there. A lot of coal. A lot of coal production here. And big timber state, too, for a long time. Big timber state. Pokemon. Hermanus Johannes Erlang, thank you for the 14-rand super chat. Does anyone know who the illegal miners are selling to here in USA? In South Africa? No, they're sold a lot of places. The companies wash that stuff. Odd reference shoes. Our local radio must be scrambling for topics to avoid the pertinent ones. Okay, lithium is a booming business. It is. It is. Professor G is back. Is he? Okay, let's go, Professor G. Didn't know he was back. That was a short vacation. Let's go check him out. How do we find? Oh, there he is. Yeah, he's back, and he put some of his videos back up. Channel's back.
Tonight's not just another...
What is this, kettle? Looks like a booze advert. Oh, Caesar's Palace. Oh, he's got the camera closer.
The video för jullie allemaal.
Okay, I don't want to hear it in Afrikaans.
That's fine, I completely understand it. And I want to tell you the direction that this channel is going to take. One, I'm trying to up the quality of the videos, as you can see by this. And two, of course, I know quality. The order of the numbers of the volumes behind me will irritate some of you. But if I get back to 9,000 plus subscribers, I will happily change the order of all the books. But all that, levity aside, I am going to pause for the time being making any videos concerning the Vluchteling program or the Asiel program here in the United States, because one, there's really nothing new that has come up in recent weeks and months that has been any different from news that I published in the past, and two, for other reasons that I'm not going to get into here. But I didn't want to stop this channel, so I needed to take a break. I needed to consolidate and reorganize because it was taking a lot of time away from both of my professions. As you know, I'm a law school professor and an immigration attorney as well. And I needed to pause and figure out where this YouTube channel fell in the grand scheme of things. But one of the things that's very important to me is, since I started to learn Afrikaans, which you can tell is still garbage, you know that I have baie respect voor die cultuur en geschiedenis van Afrikaans.
Anyway, so it sounds like he's back doing some things that are not related to refugee thing, which is what I said is probably going to happen. So, because he's backing off the refugee stuff. All right. Hey, Andre. And David van Reenen, I'm also waiting. You missed him so much. Okay, well, go watch him. He's back. He's got several videos on there. He put back, how many videos did he put back? He just did that one, and he put back 4 videos, so, of all the videos he did. So, one about the Battle of Majuba Hill, Afrikaners deserve a homeland, South African Rhodesia, failed by universal suffrage, and Rhodesia and Afrikaners democracy. Okay. Yeah, his quality is definitely bumped up a bit there. So there you go. Cool beans. All right, guys, I need to hit the rack. I'm going to be up for the British and Irish Lions series. I'm covering the Brumbies versus British and Irish Lions at 6 a.m. That's noon South Africa time. Is Professor G here? I don't see him here. I don't imagine he's up this late. He's not on the West Coast. He's a different time zone as me, yeah. Hey, Matt Canali. That's who wrote that about Be And Jesse's here from Arizona. I didn't see Jesse. I wish that I had Jesse's girl. Where can I find a woman like that? Like Jesse's girl. Rick Springfield. Almost 80 years old. Wow. Gosh. Man, life is cruel. All right, guys. Cheers, cheers. See you later. See you hopefully on the rugby. Y'all take care. Thanks for being here. Bye.